and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, invites the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to attend the upcoming Arab Summit due to be hosted by Algeria as an honored guest. Algeria's strategy in terms of atomic energy is displayed during the IAEA General Conference held in the Austrian capital, Vienna. And social unrest is marking the everyday life of the Moroccan people, still taken to the streets to denounce the untold social injustice throughout the country. Good evening, those were the headlines. First, now today's edition, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, sent an official invitation to the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, to attend the proceedings of the next Arab Summit due to be held next November as a guest of honor. The invitation was handed by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Communities at Labrat Ramtal Amamra during a working session which gathered him with the UN Secretary General as part of the 77th session of the UN General Assembly held in New York City. For his part, Guterres expressed his deep gratitude to the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, for this invitation while affirming his presence during the summit, which coincides with the celebrations marking the 68th anniversary of the outbreak of the Glorious Liberation Revolution. During this session, the two parties reviewed the cooperation relations between Algeria and the United Nations, as well as the latest regional and international developments, notably Algeria's efforts to promote peace and stability in Libya, Mali, and the Sahel-Saharan region, in addition to its endeavors to strengthen the Palestinian national unity and the resumption of the peace process in the Middle East. In this context, the UN Secretary General hailed Algeria's exceptional contribution in the United Nations and the global multilateral diplomacy, peacefully resolving disputes and promoting friendly relations between countries. The two parties also discussed the prospects for complementing the decolonization of Western Sahara in light with the resumption of the UN's efforts under the leadership of the personal representative of the Secretary General, Stéphane de Mistura, to urge both Morocco and the Sahrawi Republic to continue direct negotiations with the aim of reaching a lasting and fair solution accepted by both parties and which grants the right for the Sahrawi people to self-determination and independence. Still with the activities of the Foreign Affairs Minister Ramtal Amamra, who held discussions with the UN Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed. And during a keynote speech at the 77th session of the UN General Assembly, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and National Community Abroad, Ramtal Amamra, affirmed that the upcoming Arab Summit will constitute a milestone for the joint Arab action. Let's now have a listen to Algeria's Foreign Affairs Minister.
Algeria is getting ready to host an important summit of the Arab states next November the 1st and the 2nd. It is expected that this meeting would be a decisive one in the joint Arab action in facing the current challenges at the regional and international levels.
In another context, the Energy Minister Mohamed Arqab took part in the General Conference of the International Atomic Energy held in Vienna, during which he displayed Algeria's experience in the field and voiced its attachment to disarmament and non-proliferation. Sabrin Tafarganit with the details.
With the aim of exchanging expertise and presenting Algeria's atomic energy strategy and programs in this field, the Energy Minister Mohamed Arqab participated in the 66th session of the International Atomic Energy Agency. In this context, the minister recalled that Algeria established the National Authority for Nuclear Safety and Security and voiced Algeria's attachments to the international legislation related to the disarmament and the non-proliferation and the Treaty of Pilindaba by supporting African activities in the field of peaceful uses of nuclear energy, notably within the framework of the African Cooperation Agreements on research, development and training in the fields of nuclear science and technology.
تجدد الجزائر تمسكها بمهام الوكالة في إطار
Algeria reiterates its commitment to the agency's functions as part of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, notably concerning the peaceful uses of atomic energy, serving security and development. In the same context, the Energy Minister Mohamed Arqab met with the Director of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Rafael Marino Grossi, to whom he presented the priorities of the national plan for the development of peaceful use of nuclear energy, while the Director of the International Atomic Energy expressed his full readiness to support Algeria's development programs, stressing the priority and the special attention that the agency has for Algeria. The Energy Minister also met with the Algerian officials working at the International Atomic Energy Agency and reminded them of the President's instructions to promote the contribution of national competences abroad to help develop the country.
In another development, and ahead of the 10th session of the Algerian-Russian Joint Committee for Economic, Commercial, Scientific and Technical Cooperation, a two-day meeting of experts is being held in Algiers. The proceedings of the meeting tackles the components that will be retained for the Joint Commission scheduled for next Wednesday. The meeting was marked by the participation of the Russian ambassador to Algeria, Valerian Shuvaev, and on the Algerian side by the participation of the General Director of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in charge of Europe, Mohammed Al-Amin bin Sheikh, who called for the development and consolidation of bilateral relations between the two countries. In other news, a delegation of central directors and the safety chiefs of the newly fledged provinces was received by the President of the Constitutional Court, Omar Belhaj, a visit the aim of which is to develop the capacities of these executives in management. Later in the day, the delegation listened to a lecture on the role of the Constitutional Court as an institution created in the amendment of November 1st, 2020. It also inquired about the powers of the court and its role in the protection of rights and freedoms. The delegation then met with members and executives of the court and received detailed explanations on the modalities of its functioning. The Interior Minister Brahim Marad was the special guest of the National Channel Forum, during which he harked on the government governors meeting, which wound up with several important recommendations meant to improve the daily lives of citizens. To this effect, he insisted on the key role to be played by governors who have more prerogatives, yet they are called upon to be more efficient in spearheading a real local development to the benefit of the local inhabitants. In Ghardaya province, and for the good running of current affairs, more prerogatives and regulations of the territorial administration are expected to give a new boost to local development projects. Story by Sabrin Tafarganit.
With the upcoming revision of the Municipal and Provincial Code announced by the President of the Republic during the meeting of the government governors, local authorities are expecting the implementation of more prerogatives for the good management of current matters in a way that would serve citizens.
The
municipality runs social affairs development projects in all its aspects. It's the engine of local development, which cannot be established without the support and the contribution of civil society, considered as the main partner.
The municipality plays a key role in achieving local development projects that would upgrade life conditions for citizens.
عملا بتوجيهات السيد رئيس الجمهورية في لقاء الولاة مع الحكومة.
Pursuant to the President of the Republic's instructions, we, as local executives, work in collaboration with all the services of the province. The Municipal Law 1011 has granted prerogatives to the mayor for achieving development projects in all fields in the region.
For the achievement of these projects and the revitalization of the province's economy and the improvement of living conditions, new laws meant to decentralize the decisions and the good management of local authorities are being implemented.
Abroad, the Sahrawi Liberation Army continues its attacks against positions of the Moroccan occupation forces in the sector of Awserd, claiming huge material and human casualties. And the fight is still going on in Morocco following the blatant social injustice witnessed everywhere in the country, as it is the case in the Azmour village, the inhabitants of which took to the streets to denounce their harsh living conditions. More details with Melissa Kubash.
As always, a wave of anger has swamped the Moroccan territories. On these images are the inhabitants of Azamur. Just like other Moroccan citizens, they took to the streets expressing their fed up of the multiple injustices committed by the Makhzen regime and Akhanouch's government, alongside the terrible living conditions, the hike of prices, especially that of basic necessity. The excruciating conditions have affected all fringes of society and worsened their daily lives. For its part, the regime is still incapable of finding a solution to this unprecedented social crisis and isn't willing to put an end to this massacre. But on the other hand, the country's wealth is still within the hands of the regime. The Moroccan people are determined to maintain their fight, despite the corruption that's still wreaking havoc and hitting all the social components. One of the main demands are a radical change and the departure of the current government. But until then, the fight must go on.
And the mystery behind Lila's massacres remains unknown. The regional parliament of the Balearic Islands will hold a plenary session in order to review this thorny file and denounce this horrendous crime. Melissa Kubash once again.
3 months have passed on Lila's massacres and still no response to the family victims. As for the 73 reported missing victims, they remain identified. The tragedy led to the murder of several African migrants who tried to cross the border since Morocco. Numerous countries and international organizations requested the opening of an international profound investigation with the aim to disclosing the mystery behind that terrifying crime, which is being hidden by the Makhzen. The regional parliament of Balearic Islands will debate on Tuesday in a plenary session upon the request of Political Alliance, Mas per Mallorca, so as to condemn those responsible of the tragedy. 2 initiatives will take place during this debate, one led by the Ciudadanos party in relation with the economic activity on the archipelago, while the other will be presented by the Mas to denounce the massacre of Nila that led to the death of 73 sub-Saharan migrants. According to human rights organizations, namely in Morocco, the number of victims of that bloody repression carried by the Makhzen's security forces hasn't been fully declared by the Moroccan authorities. A large number of videos and pictures were published on social media, showing dozens of migrants laying on the floor and the cruelty of the Moroccan security forces against helpless sub-Saharan migrants.
In a different context, the Italian legislative elections, and for the first time since 1945, the far-right party Fratelli d'Italia, headed by Giorgia Meloni, is leading the elections following the vote that took place on Sunday. The national football team is to take today in Oran Stadium the Nigerian side in a friendly game ahead of the upcoming official matches. The Desert Warriors are determined to secure another victory to boost the morale, notably after the previous triumph over the Guinea team with the score of 1-0 scored by Islam Slimani. Let's wish all the best for our national team. And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us and goodbye.